We've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
Nobody in our league should be facing any sort of disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark, one of the standout stars in the NCAA and a dominant force in women's basketball, has found herself cornered into constantly responding to public controversies rather than focusing on her game. Despite her incredible talent, much of the media's attention seems more interested in controversies involving other players, such as Angel Reese and Alyssa Thomas.
We don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world. Something needs to be done, whether it's, them checking their fans or this league checking it. There's no time for it anymore.
But the real story being ignored is the one that involves the hate comments and trolling Clark herself has been subjected to. In recent months, Clark has been repeatedly asked to weigh in on everything from the actions of her competitors to their statements on the state of the game.
A lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league, I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players, there's so many great teams, there are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated, and for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up wanting to be like.
The media seems obsessed with her reactions to what Angel Reese and Alyssa Thomas have been saying, but there's been little to no focus on the online abuse that Clark has received. It's as if the world is eager to pit her against others, but when it comes to addressing her own struggles, no one wants to listen.
Negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because I'll take that. Look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball.
This imbalance reveals the toxic environment female athletes are forced to navigate, where their every word and gesture is scrutinized, but their personal challenges are sidelined. The 2023 NCAA Women's Basketball Championship marked a turning point for the sport, with players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese taking center stage. The tournament shattered viewership records. According to ESP, and the final game between Iowa and LSU attracted 9.9 million viewers, a staggering number that surpassed many other mainstream sports broadcasts. This game wasn't just about basketball. It was a cultural event.
Occasionally try to defend Cheryl Swope, but at this point it's just crystal clear. I haven't spent much time trying to defend Angel Reese. I've spent a tiny bit, but I just can't. Angel Reese is a hater, and her whole media popularity, her whole platform is built off the back of Caitlin.
Both Clark and Reese emerged as major stars, with their unique playing styles and fierce competitive spirits captivating fans across the nation. But with this fame came an unwelcome consequence: intense media scrutiny and online trolling. Clark, known for her deep three-point shooting and leadership on the court, was not just celebrated but also criticized.
I wonder if Caitlin, in every post-game press conference, she came out and talked about the kind of hateful comments that she was getting. If she came out and told everybody the reason why she has personal security that goes with her every single place, it's a lot. And so it's not just Caitlin Clark fans or Indiana Fever fans. It is not all going in one direction.
Despite being one of the most beloved players in the sport, she became a target for online trolls who criticized her performance, her demeanor, and even her appearance. This wave of negativity wasn't unique to her, however. Angel Reese, who led LSU to a national championship, faced her own wave of vitriol.
For basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball. So I don't know, it reminded me of the technical that I got in college where I said damn it, where it's like a personal frustration. Had nothing to do with my team, had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a competitor and I felt like I should have been making more shots. So but I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that, so I want to thank him.
Much of it rooted in racial and gender biases. In the aftermath of the championship, the conversation shifted from celebrating these athletes to critiquing them. Reese's celebratory gestures on the court were dissected by the media, and Clark's silence was interpreted as a reflection of her thoughts on Reese's actions. But behind the scenes, Clark was dealing with her own barrage of online harassment. Fans and trolls alike took to social media to attack her, accusing her of poor sportsmanship, questioning her abilities, and subjecting her to relentless hate. As the media focused on the actions of Angel Reese,
Sue Bird did not have the same issues, but they went through the same things. You know what I mean? Like, you're just seeing it. That's the difference. No one saw Sue Bird go through the things Sue Bird went through. No one saw KP struggle in Las Vegas when no one gave a fuck about Vegas. Before Asia Wilson was Asia Wilson, no one talked about those things before Becky Hammon got there, because no one cared. No one gave a fuck about the league, and that's what it is. You're seeing now what we've seen for years. Point blank, period.
Caitlin Clark found herself being constantly asked about her opinions on the matter. In every interview, reporters were more interested in getting her thoughts on what others were saying rather than allowing her to speak about her own experiences. While Clark remained professional and diplomatic, the weight of these repeated questions began to take its toll. In one interview, Clark was asked about Alyssa Thomas and Angel Reese's comments on the game and the state of women's basketball. But rather than engage in the drama, Clark responded by shifting the focus to the game itself and the need to support women's sports.
Thomas is one of the most quiet, woman of few words, does not mince her words, lets her game speak for herself type of people you will ever meet. I do think over the course of the year, the players have been saying something needs to stop. We need to show people who we are. We need the commissioner to speak on this, which the WNBA came for had a statement yesterday, but things just haven't been the way it needed to in sort of setting the tone, especially with this new influx of fans on what we stand for and what we don't. I think Caitlin has used her voice in the ways that she has tried to, but still, it's been falling.
"We're all here because we love basketball," she said. "What happens on the court stays on the court. We're competitors, but we also respect each other as athletes." Despite her efforts to rise above the drama, the media continued to fixate on the supposed rivalries between her and other players. The pressure mounted as Clark became the go-to person for commentary on everyone else's controversies, but little attention was given to the hate she herself was receiving.
Allyship requires you to constantly unpack your need and desire or justification for wanting to police the behaviors of Black people. And no one is above being held accountable. I don't care how many Black friends you have or how many cookouts you've been invited to.
Online trolls bombarded her social media with nasty comments, and yet the media seemed oblivious to the toll this was taking on her mental health. While Caitlin Clark was being cornered into giving her opinions on others, Angel Reese decided to address the situation head-on. In a candid interview, Reese responded to Alyssa Thomas's comments about the ongoing controversies in women's basketball. "She was a little too late," Reese said bluntly. "Y'all know I've been going through this for the last 2 years, but I was told to save the tears and stop playing victim. All are a little late to the party and could have tried to put out this fire way before it started." Reese's words were a powerful reminder of the double standards that female athletes, especially women of color, face in sports.
I think just more love and peace. I would say that's the biggest thing. I think there's just so much hate in the world right now. I think just everybody appreciating everybody for who they are and loving on one another. I think that's how I've always tried to go about my life and how I was raised. And
for 2 years, Reese had been dealing with the backlash of her confident, outspoken style, while others had been silent or complicit. Her critics had painted her as the villain of women's basketball, while her male counterparts in similar situations were often celebrated for their passion and intensity. Reese's frustration was evident in her remarks, and it struck a chord with many fans and fellow athletes.
Media for you, I think, being able to get off that. Social media is not really the greatest place to ever be on. I think that's something that I've tried to do over the course of my career, is not be on social media too much. And you never want to find your validation from people online. You should care about the people in your circle that, I always said, I only care about the opinions of my family and the people inside of our locker room and my teammates, my coaches. That's really all that I concern myself with. And if you live like that, you'll be in a really good.
She wasn't just calling out the media for focusing on the wrong issues. She was highlighting the systemic problems that have long plagued women's sports. The media had been quick to criticize her for her celebratory gestures on the court. But when it came to addressing the hate she and other female athletes received online, there was silence. The controversy surrounding Clark, Reese, and Thomas is just one example of the broader issues at play in women's sports. Female athletes are routinely held to different standards than their male counterparts. When male athletes engage in trash talk, taunting, or emotional outbursts, it's often framed as passion, competitiveness, or just part of the game.
There were a lot of people that laid the groundwork that deserve shine as well. Here's what we're going to do.
Are they playing now?
Here's
Are
what we're going to do.
Are they playing now?
We don't have Andrea.
Remember, you got
we don't have any of the women, Chanae. They'll come back on. We'll revisit this conversation. Glad.
But when female athletes do the same, they're labeled as unsportsmanlike, aggressive, or emotional. A 2024 report by the Women's Sports Foundation highlighted the disparities in how male and female athletes are treated in the media. The study found that female athletes receive only 4% of total sports media coverage, despite making up nearly 40% of all athletes. Moreover, when women are covered, the focus is often on their appearance or personal lives, rather than their athletic achievements.
Caitlin Clark, like, what was your adjustment to her? Because that's really like on some Steph Curry type of adjustment.
No, Caitlin is tough. She's good as advertised. I mean, in the WNBA, like, they saying she's struggling and stuff like that, right? She had 20 points in her debut, 10 turnovers, but, like, I mean, if you have 20 points in your debut and that's a bad game, then, like...
That's considered a bad game. That's heavy, bro.
What does a good game look like? You know what I'm saying? So, playing against Caitlin Clark, like...
This skewed coverage not only undermines their accomplishments, but also perpetuates harmful stereotypes about women in sports. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are both victims of these double standards. While Clark is often praised for her skill and determination, she's also subject to online trolling and negative media attention. Meanwhile, Reese has been repeatedly criticized for her outspoken nature and on-court celebrations, even though male athletes engage in similar behavior without facing the same level of scrutiny.
The bad guys say, me and you, we were talking about this girl, Caitlin Clark. Oh, let me throw this out. By the way,
it wasn't that anybody didn't think she was going to be successful or not play. It was just that we felt the other players in the W deserve shine as well.
For athletes like Clark and Reese, the scrutiny doesn't end with the media. Online trolls have become a pervasive presence in their lives, using social media as a platform to spread hate and negativity. For Clark, the trolling has included everything from personal attacks to sexist comments questioning her place in the sport. Reese, too, has faced a barrage of racist and misogynistic comments, further highlighting the toxic culture that surrounds women's sports.
So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay.
The impact of this online abuse cannot be overstated. In 2024, mental health has become a major concern for athletes, as the pressures of fame and the constant barrage of hate can take a serious toll. Clark and Reese, like many other athletes, have had to find ways to cope with the negativity while continuing to perform at the highest level.
She's just a rookie. That level of greatness, that level of play on a consistent basis as a rookie puts you up in the upper echelon of any league.
But the question remains, why should they have to deal with this at all? The controversies surrounding Caitlin Clark.
For watching women's basketball right now, it all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
Angel Reese and Alyssa Thomas are a stark reminder of the challenges that female athletes face in today's sports landscape. While women's basketball has never been more popular, the treatment of its players leaves much to be desired.
Number 7. So I'm like, cool, like, the pressure is not even on me because I'm drafted 7, so the pressure shouldn't even be up there. So I'm like, all right, cool, I can just hoop. So I don't know when, like, it started to just break out where I was just in rookie of year conversations. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's because you started killing it.
Well, yeah.
And they're like, oh my God.
The media's obsession with manufactured rivalries and the constant online trolling must be addressed if women's sports are to continue growing in popularity and respect. Caitlin Clark's decision to support her fellow athletes rather than engage in the drama is a powerful statement. It shows that she's not interested in playing into the media's narratives, but instead wants to focus on the game and her love for basketball. Similarly, Angel Reese's outspoken nature is a reminder that athletes shouldn't have to conform to outdated notions of how women in sports should behave. As we move forward, it's clear that the focus needs to shift. Instead of asking female athletes to comment on others' controversies, we should be celebrating their achievements and working to create an environment where they can thrive without fear of judgment or online abuse.
We got a lot of players, a lot of these wonderful ladies who bust their tail to make the WNBA what it was. Here's the reality. It wasn't what it is. The quality of basketball may have been up to snuff, and you had somebody as popular as Cheryl Swoops who had her own signature shoe, had to deal with Nike and all of this other stuff. But the bottom line is, very few people gave a damn.
It's time for the media, fans, and the sports world as a whole to step up and show these athletes the respect they deserve. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are two of the brightest stars in women's basketball, and their stories reflect both the incredible progress the sport has made and the challenges that remain. While they've been subjected to intense scrutiny and online trolling, they've also shown immense strength and resilience. If you enjoyed this content, please give a like and subscribe. More exciting videos are available on screen. Now, don't miss out.